All right, guys, if you look back behind me to my left, right about here, do you see how that building is blocking the view of the coastline? Now, if we turn this way and look over here on the other side, you see how that building right there is blocking that coastal view? You can't see that coastal view at all. So you always want to make sure that you purchase a property that you can see the entire coastline view. That's gonna really help you in your pictures and your photos online for renting your unit. All right, guys, so back behind me here, you're gonna see an example of a coastline. You can see the pier right back behind me. That's the kind of view that you want. Now, let's turn this way. And again, you can see the entire coastline all up and down this coast. That's what you want to look for when you're purchasing a property that you plan to rent out on Airbnb. You want to be in the top 5% in your rental market. I want to get you there. In this video, I'm going to tell you the things that you need to know before buying an oceanfront condo so that you buy it well and make it into the top 5% in our rental market. I'm also going to cover the functionality of the unit, the design, and the pictures. What you need to have in those pictures is super important before you start posting on Airbnb and VRBO. Finally, I'm gonna include a few must-haves, in my opinion, that you need in any unit that you're buying here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Let's get into the video, guys. Stay tuned, because in the rest of the video, well, you're probably gonna need a plethora of chairs in that property. It's dishware, but they can't share spoons and forks and knives and bowls and plates. His unit couldn't sell before, and then it sold. Updated units sell, because your competitors, they're gonna have high quality photos. See, there's a reason why they're in the top percent and other people aren't. You'd like to invest in an oceanfront condo at a beach resort. I'd like to show you how they make profit and break down all their expenses so you understand how they operate, how they appreciate over time, and how to choose the right property manager for your goals. I'd also like to let you know what your HOA includes, how the location best services the tourist booking your unit, how your tourist can navigate the area to the best attractions, restaurants, and local events. I'd like to give you a market report on the resort that you're checking out today so that you make savvy investment decisions. And if you stay tuned until the end, I'll show you my top picks for the units that have appreciated the most in our market or generated the most gross rental income. So no matter if you're a first-time investor, a seasoned professional transitioning into the real estate game, or simply a casual investor who wants to buy an oceanfront condo to rent out while you're not using it for vacation. Whether you've got 15% to pay down because you're financing or you're a cash buyer, if it's an oceanfront condo you're after, you'll be better, because I'm aiming to give you a 10 times return on your time for watching this video to the end. All right, so it starts with buying the right unit. A rear unit is not going to have the same level of occupancy as an oceanfront unit. This also goes for the units that are inside, that show like the inside of the building, or they show like another building. Anything that really doesn't have an oceanfront view, where you step out on the balcony and there's sand and ocean in front of you, it's not going to work. The occupancy level is not going to be the same. You have to take into account the tenants that are looking online at your listings on Airbnb and VRBO that are looking to rent these units. They're going to check for that view. That's what everyone wants here at the beach. So you have to make sure that you purchase your unit with the end user, with the tenant, with the guest in mind. Everything has to be informed by how that listing and how those pictures are going to be showing up on Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com, all those major websites. Now, if you're serious about maximizing your rental income, then you have to have a spacious balcony. A tiny balcony is not going to work, guys. This is probably one of the most important things I would say when it comes to buying a unit. If the larger that balcony, the better. Trust me. You want to make sure that you have a true view. Now, sometimes you'll see oceanfront condos and they've got an oceanfront view, but if you look to the left, there'll be a building beside them blocking, and possibly to the right, there'll be another building blocking. And so it doesn't really give you a true view of the coastline. You can't really see all the way down the coastline. Now, those type pictures are going to show up really, really well in your listings. for that guests are going through, that tenants are going through online. When they're picking and choosing a unit, if you've got a unit that has a true view to it, it shows a pier way off in the distance, it shows the curvature of the coastline all along the shore, miles and miles away, those pictures are going to help book your unit more than a unit that doesn't have that, that has a building right next to it. You really can't see beyond that building, you know, just a little ways up the coastline. So you definitely want to get a building that has a unit that has a view and that is not blocked by any other buildings. A true view of the coastline. Stay tuned, because in the rest of the video, because your competitors, they're going to have high quality photos. See, there's a reason why they're in the top % and other people aren't. Now, honestly, the more bedrooms, the better. You know, it needs to be, in my opinion, at least 2 bedrooms, if at all possible. The more rooms, the more people you can sleep, the more you're going to be able to charge for that unit. The larger units make more money. There's just simply no way around it. I know of a 4-bedroom unit at the Ocean Reef that makes over $207,000 a year. So 4 bedrooms, you know, great for large guests, large families, and of course those fees are a lot higher. Now, and we'll get into this later on, but there are going to be, of course, you know, different kinds of operational things that you have to take into account when you have a 4-bedroom unit as opposed to, you know, a 2-bedroom or an efficiency. But either way, if you want to get the maximum gross rental income from your unit, you need to increase the bedrooms as much as possible. 2 needs to be the minimum. I will say I have heard of an efficiency unit that brings in over $80,000 a year right here in our market. However, you know, again, the general rule is the more rooms, the better on gross rental income. Look at what's coming up next. In that instance, you're going to want to make sure that you have a unit that has a washer and dryer, because these type guests are going to want a washer and dryer. Who you are serving defines who you are not serving. Now, you also want to know who your end user or your audience, your customer, your guest, your tenant is going to be before you make your purchase. This is going to, at least for 2 reasons that come to mind, inform you throughout the entire process. One, for example, if you're gonna cater to snowbirds, if you plan on doing off-peak season rentals, our peak season is April through September. So if you plan on renting your unit out, you know, October, November, December, January, February, these months, well, you're most likely going to be catering to snowbirds or retirees that are wanting to escape the harsh weather elsewhere and come and rent a unit in our market. Now, all that said, they're going to be longer stay tenants. They're not going to be renting it for 3 days or a week. They're going to be renting it for a month at a time, most likely. In that instance, you're going to want to make sure that you have a unit that has a washer and dryer, because these type guests are going to want a washer and dryer. They're not going to want to go to the laundromat or drive up the road. They want that convenience. So identifying your end user ahead of time is super important. Now, another reason why it's important is because it's going to inform you throughout the entire process. In other words, as a business owner, who you are serving defines who you are not serving. So it's going to help bring a lot of clarity as you make business decisions to help you cut costs, to know which way to go. If you're not serving, groups of 8 and you're only serving groups of 2 or 4 couples or smaller families, then that's going to inform you all the way through. You're not going to have to buy as many towels. You're not going to have to get as many cleaning products. You're not going to have to set out as much coffee. It's really going to help you understand your business model a lot better and kind of give you some boundaries so that you don't overspend or you don't find yourself trying to serve too many audiences, too many tenants at once, and make a poor choice, overextend yourself or spend money that you don't need to be spending. Look at what's coming up next. And the reason why is you do want to avoid squatters. Now, quote unquote squats on your property. Now, I will throw out a quick caveat here. I have heard it said, I was in a conversation just yesterday with an investor in our market, and she was mentioning not having rentals of more than 30 days. And the reason why is you do want to avoid squatters. Now, that is something that some investors are interested in doing, limiting their rentals to be only 30 days. Do I think it's a major issue in my experience? No. However, I do have other clients that rent for several months out the year to people and establish, that repeat business relationship where they come back year in and year out to rent during those off-season months. I had a client who just literally sold their 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom oceanfront condo, and they had winter rentals that came in and they would rent for longer than 30 days. So, it just depends on your own personal comfort level, whether or not you want to take the risk of having someone that, quote unquote, squats on your property, and then you have to go through that process. There certainly is a risk. It is very, very real, but you have to, just take into account your own personal preferences. I don't think it's that much of a risk personally, and I would recommend definitely renting to snowbirds and doing rentals longer than 30 days. But other people might feel uncomfortable with that. So that's a bridge you'll have to cross when you get there. Look at what's coming up next. Well, you might want to consider putting a kid's room, maybe some kind of game room. Are you going to be serving golfers that come during the spring in our market? When you understand who you're serving, you can really start to cultivate competitive advantages for your unit. So you definitely want to take into account the quantity of people that you're going to be serving before you buy your oceanfront condo. Again, this is going to reflect how many towels, how many linens, how many pillowcases, how many washcloths, how many soaps, how many chocolates you might leave out, or all those different things. And it's also going to help you understand, really who you're serving. Are you serving families with children? Well, you might want to consider putting a kid's room, maybe some kind of game room in your unit to help give it an extra competitive advantage. Are you going to be serving golfers that come during the spring in our market and golf? Large parties of golfers, maybe of 8 or more. Well, then you might set out some golf information, or maybe you're offering tickets, or to come and play at certain golf courses. Maybe you've pre-purchased their entrance fees, and they can come, and you have a package set up, and you've pre-arranged all that. You've built in an agenda or have a working relationship with certain golf courses here so that your tenants can come and do that. So there are various, when you understand who you're serving, you can really start to cultivate competitive advantages for your unit and advertise that in your listing on Airbnb, VRBO, all those major websites, so that people are renting yours instead of the competitors. I believe you should invest in oceanfront condos in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because you can enjoy and increase the passive income of your oceanfront condo through the 20 to 22 million tourists that visit the #2 vacation destination on the East Coast each year. Not only can you enjoy the equity paid for by visiting tourists, but you can also anticipate the over 100% appreciation experience at many of the oceanfront resorts in our market during the recent decade. I believe you should invest in oceanfront condos in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because you can depreciate them, reducing your overall tax burden, keeping more money for you and your loved ones, and ensuring unnecessary taxes aren't paid. Stay tuned, because in the rest of the video, because your competitors, they're going to have high quality photos. See, there's a reason why they're in the top percent and other people aren't. Now, the second thing that's going to be important for getting into the top 5% on AirDNA is going to be your pictures. I mean, pictures, guys. Can't say it enough. Honestly, it's a crucial part of your presentation to the world. If people aren't seeing your unit in a positive light, if you don't have quality, high quality photos, that's going to be a problem. Because your competitors, they're going to have high quality photos. They're going to be doing this. There's a reason why they're in the top percent and other people aren't. So you want to take, you want to take into account what the top people in your field are doing and apply those principles to your unit. And that's going to help increase the amount of occupancy and what you can charge for that room. Now, high quality pictures, absolute must. It's what's in the pictures that really, really counts, guys. We're talking about decor. You have to have the updated appliances. You have to have the right decor, the right look. It's super important the colors that you have throughout your unit. you really want to make sure that your pictures pop. Maybe they're telling a theme. There's a theme throughout them. There's a story that those pictures are conveying that a person is buying into, because they're going, yes, this is my identity. Yes, I can identify with this. This is the kind of vacation I want for my family. This is the kind of feel that I'm looking for. This is how I want to spend, my time, my 1 week or 2 weeks a year, or however many weeks it is. The point is, you really want to convey a story in your pictures. You want to give off a theme. You want people to be picking up on, this is the look and the feel that I was hoping for when I decided to go on vacation. And those pictures, they're worth 1,000 words. I know you've probably heard that before, but they are. And they're pretty much some of your only exposure to the open world with your great product. So you definitely want to take into account the colors throughout your unit, the framing of your pictures. Make sure, you are, as much as possible, telling a story and conveying a theme. And then, there definitely needs to be, updated appliances, and, just what's in the picture really, really matters. So take that into account when you're posting your listing on these major websites. If you can show nice, shiny stainless steel appliances, with great wall decor and, pretty little decorations throughout the unit, showing your own personal, maybe finishing touches, and really show why your unit is unique, that's going to go a long way and convey a lot in the photos. And it's probably going to help you gather trust, to be honest with you. When someone's looking to spend their vacation at your unit, and they see that you've gone the extra mile to put little finishing touches throughout your unit, to coordinate those colors and to have a theme, and to really, if at all possible, tell a story through your pictures, then they're probably going to trust that, wow, I'm going to go there and I'm going to have a good experience. If she took the time, or he took the time to do all this in this unit, then I don't have to really worry about things being a mess when I get there, if it's going to be clean, if it's going to work out well, because people are risking their vacation time on your unit, especially when you're first starting out on Airbnb and VRBO and these major websites. So it's going to be super important to take into account what's in the picture when you take the picture, and make sure it's staged just right, so that people pick up on your vibe and they go, you know what, I'll risk my $2,000 this week to stay in her unit, because I don't think that it's going to be a mess. I think it's going to be a wonderful stay. Look at what's coming up next. His unit couldn't sell before, and then it sold. Updated units sell. Now guys, the next thing that you want to focus on to get into the top 5% on Airbnb and all these major websites, which you should be aiming to get in that top 5%, because those people are making money, is the design of your unit. You want your unit to be modern. You want it to be trendy. You want it to be what people are looking for. Now, it's got to have great lighting. It's got to be updated. It has to have nice new flooring, and it has to have a great paint job on it. Now, we're going to parlay right here for a moment into remodeling. For those of you that have seen some of my other videos, I talk about your average remodel only costing $21,000. Now, of course, if you have a larger unit, it is going to cost you more. If you've got a 4-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, you're probably going to spend somewhere around $55,000, maybe $40,000, depending upon how in depth you go. So I'd say $40,000 to $50,000, maybe $55,000. But the point is this here, guys. If your unit's updated, it's going to rent out more. There's no way around it than a unit that's not updated. There's absolutely no way around it. I'll give you a quick story. I have a client that had a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom oceanfront condo. He had it listed, I want to say at least twice before he had it listed for sale with me. Couldn't get it sold. We got feedback. It needed to be updated. It was older looking. We updated it. We got it under contract for $625,000. So the point is, and I think we got it under contract the first time within 23 days. He's since closed. The whole point is this though, guys. His unit couldn't sell before, and then it sold. The point is that updated units sell. And the same people that are having a response to wanting to buy a unit, they're probably thinking a lot of the same things that people are thinking, guests and tenants are thinking on Airbnb and VRBO when they're looking at your listing and they're going, well, I'm going to rent the one that's the nicest. Even if it's a comparable price, what would you choose? Put yourself in the shoes of that person. Basically, if I'm looking and I've got, a $25 or $50 difference a night or something like that, and I can choose a really nice, super updated, unit, well, I'm probably going to go with the nicer unit, and I'm probably going to think, well, if these people have taken the time to update this unit, they must be serious about their Airbnb business, their VRBO business. So I definitely want to rent for somebody that's serious because my stay is most likely going to be much better. So anyways, the point is the design of your unit is crucial in getting in the top 5%. You can't expect to buy an old dated unit, put it on Airbnb and be in the top 5%. You are essentially going to be selling your competitors' units if you do that, because the buyers that are renting these units, these guests and tenants, are going to go for the nicest units every single time. Stay tuned, because in the rest of the video, well, you're probably going to need a plethora of chairs in that property. It's dishware. They can't share spoons and forks and knives and bowls and plates. Now, guys, your unit also has to be functional. If you're going to be in the top 5% of units on Airbnb and VRBO, in your rental market, then you're going to need a unit that's functional. If you have a unit, like let's say you have a 4-bedroom unit and it sleeps 12 people, well, you're probably going to need a plethora of chairs in that property. You can't put up a dining table that seats 4 people and expect there to be adequate seating and expect it to be functional to serve 12. So there's going to be some things that you're going to have to do differently as opposed to a person that only has a unit that sleeps 4 people or 6 people or 8 people if you have a larger unit. And just a handful of those things, dishware. You have to, they can't share spoons and forks and knives and bowls and plates. You've got to have, I would say, if you sleep 12, you need at least 16 plates and bowls and spoons and stuff. So, I definitely would highly recommend thinking through the functionality of your unit so that people have a pleasant experience. You don't want to have 8 towels if you sleep 4 people. You're probably going to want to have at least, I would say at least 24, maybe, 36 towels in there, and depending upon their stay, you might need even more. If they're staying a full week, you have to take all that stuff into account. So there are going to be some operational costs that are different when you own a larger unit. The unit itself has to be functional because you don't want a guest to show up and then they don't have a great experience. Then they're not going to book with you again. It's not helping you build your book of business for successive years. And ultimately, it's going to take away from your reviews online, and it's not going to be a good situation. So you have to make sure that your unit is functional based on the number of people that it sleeps. Look at what's coming up next. Your tenant might not ever use that desk. The kids might not ever really spend any time in that room. Conveying, things that are going to touch people's hearts in such a way that they want to rent your unit when you take those photos and put them in your listing. All right, so in my opinion, here are a few other must-haves. If at all possible, you have to have king beds. You're competing with people that are probably going to have king beds if they're in the top 5% of rentals in your market. You're also going to want to have desk. I know it might sound simple, but guys, it's going to make a big difference if you've got the advantage of a beautiful desk with a nice lamp set up, or maybe a bar on it or whatnot. The whole point is, guys, that if you have a desk, it's probably going to give you an advantage over units that don't offer desk. And it might sound silly and simple, but when you take a picture, let's say that you have your unit set up to where you have a kid's room and there's a desk in the kid's room, and it's playfully decorated and set up like it's for kids. That's going to show up really, really well in the photo. Your tenant might not ever use that desk. The kids might not ever really spend any time in that room, but you're conveying a story. You're conveying a theme. You're conveying a lifestyle. You're conveying, things that are going to touch people's hearts in such a way that they want to rent your unit when you take those photos and put them in your listing. So even though that might not, functionally be used, it could tell the story and cinch the deal in them choosing your unit instead of another unit. Now, you know, you got to have a coffee station for sure, and then you always want to have proper lighting in the vanities. You know, you want to make sure that, you know, the wife or the lady is not going to have difficulty putting her makeup on. You know, you want to just try to cater as much as possible so that the guest has the absolute best experience the entire time throughout your unit. So don't have poor lighting in your bathroom, and in fact, don't have poor lighting throughout your entire unit, because you want your guests to have a pleasant stay the entire time that they're at your unit. You don't want them to have to, you know, walk from room to room to room to figure out where can I put my makeup on at that I can actually see myself well. You know, and it might sound like a simple thing, but those little simple tweaks throughout the entire process are going to add up to an excellent experience. The good news is you made it to the end of the video. Now, if you click the link that's popping up on your screen, this next video, I'll show you an oceanfront resort that has $100,000 condos that are generating $16,865 in projected profit. You better click now.